Paul says, I know, but in Christ, I know I'm headed to ultimate victory because the Spirit of God is at work in me. He is producing righteousness in my heart right now. And one day, he's going to deliver me physically from this body of death, and he's going to take me into a world without corruption or pain or death. And I can't wait. That's why you can feel Paul screaming throughout this chapter. Right now, he says, already, I've got the beginnings of this resurrection heart. I see Jesus changing me. And one day, I'm going to have a completed resurrection heart. And it's going to be accompanied by a resurrection body. And I'm going to live in a resurrection world. And that means if I'm struggling with some sin, see, that means that struggle is not the end of my story. No, because the Spirit of God is within me. And that means that this struggle, as bad as it is, I know it ends in victory. And that means if my marriage feels dead, it means if your marriage feels dead, that's not the end of your story either, because the Spirit of God is within you. He is always renewing you. He is always making you mount up with wings on like eagles. And no matter what happens in your marriage, your story ends in resurrection hope. And it means if your life is characterized by some ongoing struggle, depression, anxiety, chronic physical suffering, you've seen the doctors, you've seen the psychologists, you've gone to everybody, and it just doesn't seem to be able to get behind you. What this means is that when it's all said and done, that will not be the predominant theme of your life. Because just as sure as the Spirit raised Jesus from the grave, he also will raise your body to beautiful, perfect, everlasting life. And that will be the theme. That will be what characterizes your life in eternity. And all these things, Paul says, the body might be dead. The body might be dead because of sin, but the Spirit gives life because of righteousness. That's hope. And in that hope, Paul says, is freedom.